Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about all of my favorite new releases from the month of May. It's a little bit late, but that's okay. I've still got plenty of awesome new music for you to go check out if you haven't already checked these bands out. Some of them are somewhat popular, so you may have already heard some of these albums, but there may be some that you didn't know about and maybe you want to go check out. After this video, I will link the music down in the description. I'll link to the band's Bandcamp so that you can check each of these albums out for yourself. I also wanted to mention today I'm wearing my brand new Dark Throne shirt. It's got Fenris on it. Very, very cool. Dark Throne is one of my favorite black metal bands, and Fenris is one of my favorite people in general. He's just such an awesome guy. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. Let's get to the albums. So the first album I'm going to be talking about is Havok's album V, or 5, the Roman numeral 5. I think it's their 5th release, and that's why it's titled that way. I actually haven't heard any other Havok. I know I need to check them out eventually, but this is my introduction to Havok, actually. And I really loved that release. I thought it was an excellent thrash album. Havok are a thrash metal band from Denver, Colorado, and I really dig their sound. They've got a almost like a shrieky kind of vocal sound, but I really liked it. I thought that it was an excellent album. There was one thing that I want to mention. I have a pet peeve when it comes to albums having interludes or like instrumental songs in the middle of an album that don't really add anything and don't really like lead into the next song or anything. It's just kind of there, and this album has one of those, but I can forgive it because other than that, it is a great album. The last song on the album is also a little bit long, and I feel like drags a little bit too much, but it's an awesome album. The other thing that kind of knocked this album just slightly for me, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the album, at the same time that I had listened to Havok's new album, I also listened to a new release that came out back in January, but I didn't check it out until May, Hazard's new album, Delirium. And I listened to those two back to back, and it was kind of hard for me to like not compare them to each other. And in my humble opinion, I thought that Hazard had like a perfect 10 out of 10 super awesome album, and Havok's I listened to right afterwards, and it was hard not to compare, and didn't quite measure up to Hazard's new album Delirium. But I mean, I'm not going to knock Havok for that. That's not their fault. I still thought that they had a great album, and it's definitely still worthy of putting on this list. The next album I'm going to be talking about is Vader's new album, Solitude in Madness. That was a super, super fun album. It's death/thrash. It's got like death metal vocals, but it has this like speed and intensity that really brings the album to life. And I've heard a lot of excellent things about Vader, especially how great they are live. I think they've even like played a show in my area before I even knew who they were, so obviously I didn't go watch them, unfortunately. But I've heard excellent things about Vader, and it definitely comes through in this album. It is such an awesome album. It gets you pumped up. It makes you want to run around your room and headbang and, you know, thrash, and fun from beginning to end. Full of energy. Excellent songwriting and vocals, and they definitely have a style, and they do really, really well with it. The album is short and sweet. I think it's like 20 something minutes, like less than half an hour. It never overstays its welcome or lasts too long. you get what you need out of the album, and then all of a sudden it's over and you're like, no, where did it go? A track that I would recommend if you're interested in checking out this album is the opening track, Shock and Awe. The next album that I want to talk about is by a band called Wraith, and it's actually not a proper album. It's a 4-track EP that they released in response to the COVID-19 epidemic. All of the songs are kind of themed around epidemics and being in quarantine. It's actually called Index Case The Quarantine Sessions. These guys seem like really cool guys. I actually saw one of the members, I'm not sure which one it was. I would have to go back and check. But one of the members posted in the metal subreddit. Every Saturday they do like a special thread for promoting new bands, and the bands can post links to their band camps or whatever for people to check them out. And one of the members of Wraith actually posted this EP in there, and I saw that, and I had already listened to the album, and I commented like, hey, I checked out your EP, it was awesome, I love you guys. And he commented back like, hey, thank you. So they seem like really cool, down-to-earth guys, and they put out amazing music. I really need to check out the rest of their albums. I think they only have like 1 or 2 full-length albums. So really interested in checking out their older stuff, and also looking forward to what they come out with in the future. So listen to Wraith. The next album that I want to talk about, the band is called In the Company of Serpents, and the album is called Lux. This album is like a sludgy doom metal album. It's a very unique style, and I've never really heard anything quite like it. I haven't listened to a whole lot of sludge, admittedly, but it's almost like a fuzzy guitar sound, really groovy, a lot of like punchy riffs that really stay in your head, very, very memorable tracks. And I really, really dug this album. I had never heard of In the Company of Serpents before, and I tried like looking them up afterwards, and also looking up like if other people had done reviews or reacted to the album or talked about them or anything, and I didn't really find much. So I don't know how popular these guys are, but they put out a really, really decent album. I really enjoyed all of the tracks on there. I thought that they did a really great job, and I would be interested in seeing more of them. I'm not sure how many albums they have already, but I'll definitely be looking into them more. The next album that I want to talk about is Paradise Lost's Obsidian. This album is so freaking beautiful. Like, the singing is beautiful, the atmosphere is grandiose and just like majestic. It's epic doom, or I don't know if it's epic doom, but it's doom metal done in this like almost operatic way of just the beautiful vocals, and then at the same time those vocals can switch and turn into these like snarling, mean vocals that just are like filled with pain and suffering, and very, very like emphatic vocals. And I was very impressed with them. I've heard a ton about Paradise Lost, but I've never actually checked them out before. From what I understand, their discography is excellent. Like, they don't have a bad album. That's what I've heard about them before. So I definitely need to check out more of them. This was definitely a release that got me interested in the band and interested in their discography. So I'm definitely going to be doing that. The next album that I want to talk about is Shrapnel's Palace of the Insane. And this is a very appropriately titled album because you feel like you're living in a palace for the insane while you're listening to it. It is a crazy album. It is insanely energetic, insanely thrashy and fun, and just makes you go crazy when you listen to it. It also reminded me a lot of like punk rock, especially with the vocals, like these shouted vocals, and then there were often times where the rest of the band, or I don't know if it was other band members or not, but there would be like backup shouted vocals like you hear like in punk songs. It really reminded me of punk music, and I don't know how much of a punk influence Shrapnel has, but I could definitely hear it in that, and it just gave like this extra energy and extra oomph to their music that made it really, really interesting, and again, like very unique. I hadn't really heard a lot that sounded like them, and so I just had a blast with that album, man. Like, there wasn't a moment that I didn't want to headbang to it, and I highly recommend it for anybody who's really into thrash. I think these guys are from England, so if you're really into that like British punk slash thrash sound, you would definitely love this album and you should check it out. The last album that I want to talk about is an epic doom album by a band called Sorcerer, and it's called Lamenting the Innocents. And when I say epic doom, I mean like epic doom, like Candlemass. This album actually reminded me of the same vibe that I got from listening to Candlemass's Epicus Doomicus Metallicus, like grandiose vocals, medieval type imagery with like sorcerers and wizards and witches and that kind of thing, and just amazing storytelling and amazing. It was almost like this song itself, the song structure, the instruments, and everything was telling a story all together cohesively, and it just created this beautiful album. Very, very intense, but at the same time, like, kind of transports you to another world in your mind when you listen to it. I had a blast with this album, and I saw that it was very well reviewed. I saw some other people like on YouTube who checked it out and did reviews and really, really enjoyed it. And I definitely agree with them. This is, I don't know if it's like a sleeper hit, because I don't know how many people really checked it out, like on the metal subreddit. Like, nobody was talking about it. No, I didn't see any mention of it, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that I saw somebody else talking about it on YouTube, and that got me to check it out. And I'm definitely going to be recommending it myself because it was a superb album. And that's all the albums that I wanted to talk about today. I hope that you heard maybe one or two that interested you and that you would want to check out. If you do, then definitely click on the links in the description to go to the band's Bandcamps and check that album out. And if you like it, you can buy it and support the artists, especially that one Wraith's EP. All the proceeds from Wraith's EP through Bandcamp go towards coronavirus relief. So if you want to donate to a great cause, pick up Wraith's EP from their Bandcamp. Alright, thank you for checking out this video, guys. And remember to keep listening to great music and discovering all the music out there that you can. Keep on rocking on and have a great time. Bye-bye.